Jesse. That was a very good one.
Thank you.
My question is very simple. What is the single product line that gives you the most revenue today? Okay. I said, what is the single product that you process, either purchase or process, that drives your most revenue today? What's the monthly turnover like on that product? And what's the margin on it?
Thank you very much. The slide wasn't up on time. I should have shown you that. But our bean product sells the most because we always have beans. And then you asked for how much we sell in a month, correct?
Monthly turnover, yes.
Yes. So we could have up to 100, 150 because we sell to restaurants who purchase this.
150,000?
No, I'm sorry, just 150. Buy that for their moi moi.
So what does that translate to in revenue? What's the monthly turnover like with 150 pieces?
For 150 pieces, that could take us up to, let's say, like 300,000 thereabouts for that particular unit.
And your margin on it, gross margin?
Entirely for all our products?
On that product line?
On that product line. Let's say, normally our monthly avenue is about 1.1 per month. That's monthly avenue for all. So for that particular product line, we could be looking at, say, 15% of that amount.
Okay. And then last question, what would you do with the 5 million? Are you doubling down on something that's already working? Or do you want to do something new with the capital you're given?
I'm sorry, I really strained myself to hear that.
What will you do with the 5 million? Are you doubling down on your product that is give you the most revenue, or are you doing something new with the capital?
Okay, so in the nearest future, I'm looking at a 2 to 3 year projection. With that money, we want to expand with distribution. We want to reach more northern states. Presently, we have significant customer base around Lafia and Abuja as well. But we also want to penetrate newer markets in the northern states. So we are big on processing more so that we can distribute further, if I could put that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Omadav's Nutriments. AgroChill Solutions, if you're here, please get ready.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. For over the past 2 years, we've been able to look at a way where we curtail the use of so much preservative in food for both adults and children. And we, in Omadav Nutriment, we've looked at the fact that malnourishment has been a very big issue in Nigeria and in Lafia as a whole. So therefore, Omadav Nutriment decided, we thought of a brand whereby people eat healthy and at the same time at affordable rates. Omadav Nutriment, knowing the need for proteins, we use plant protein, which is popularly soya bean, which is a plant protein, and it's very accessible. Omadav Nutriment, while trying to make people eat comfortably, we still want people to eat at an affordable rate. Now, we are 100% natural. We also try to use our little resources around. While in our trend of business and our brand, we've tried to make different brands, different aspects to the brands, where we cater for the cholesterol patients, we cater for the diabetic patients, for infants and elderly adults. So we can all eat the same product but have different effects that is very healthy. For the diabetic patients, we realize that sugar is very bad for them, so we try to use soya bean, millet, acha, and etc. to make a comfortable and fun food for them at the same time. Monthly, we use, like I said, very little quantity, very little amount, but we get a good income and a gross profit, which is over 30% monthly. We monthly we gain up to 150. But in our food process, the baby's food is more accessible because people realize that babies need more energy. For the past 2 years, I've been able to have my customer base, which is lactating mothers, weaning babies, and elderly patients who buy from Omadavs for a healthy body. We were able to get a result of my customer base who has a daughter that has not been able to grow teeth for the past 6 months, and after she took it for 3 months, she was able to have her teeth and she works very well. So Omadab Nutriment is proven by results. We don't go with assumptions. For yearly income, our annual income, we get up to 2 million naira, and we get, like I said, more of the baby's aspect that gives us more gross profit than that of the diabetic patients and cholesterol patients. So, in all this, Omadav's Nutriment will try to look at a place where we are able to create a big space where people want to come in for their nutrients, and they'll be able to get a healthy nutrient. We will use the funds given to create a space, like I said, a consultant space, a health consultation space. We also want to get equipment to avoid economic hazards. Omadab Nutriment, we use our waste for animal feeds, so it's not disposed and it's curtailed. Thank you very much.
I'm asking. Thank you actually for that pitch, right? I have fairly 2 questions actually to ask.
All right.
My first would be, how much do you make per unit when sold? Right? Like, what's the price of an item, right? And what do you make? Right.
Okay, so we have different sizes.
Okay.
We have, for an individual size, we have the family size. So the family of 2 can be captured, the family of 7 can be captured. So from my products, which is here with me, for a family of 7, we're able to capture for a family of 7, and that gives me, for just that pouch, I'm able to get 20,000 naira for just that pouch because it covers the whole family.
Okay.
Then for the individual units, they get a pouch of 1,000 naira they can use for themselves. Like we have pure soya bean, which is made with tiger nuts, dubinos, and now you use it to take your tea. So that lasts longer for an individual. But when you want to go for Tom Browns, one pouch just takes them like 3 times per usage.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So, culture, right? Nigerians will eat what is cheap, right, and what fills the stomach. And so, my health is like my last thought. And so, my question is, how are you changing culture, right? Specifically with your customers, right? Are there specific feedback they are giving you that you think is helping you actually design like your product direction? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Like I have 3 of my major customers. Although I've been on referrals and my online presence, so they give me feedback. Maybe when it's most of them prefer it to be light in color. Most of them prefer it to be dark in color. So I try to work with their preference and make 2 different brands. So if someone comes for Omadab, I ask you, which one do you want? I try to know what you want so that when producing it, it is what you want.
Okay.
That's what Omadab neutrally.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. AgroChill Solutions.
Good morning, distinguished judge, respected dignitary and esteemed guests. What if I told you that up to 40% of food produce in Nigeria is lost, not because it wasn't good, but because there's no storage? According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, Africa lost over $48 billion annually due to post-harvest losses. In Nigeria alone, over $9 billion lost each year, and up to 40% of perishable produce spoiled just within 48 hours of harvest. And did you know only 3% of smallholder farmers have access to cold storage? This is not just a problem, it's a big business opportunity. My name is Ibrahim Issa Liman. Agro-Tree provides decentralized solar power cold storage for smallholder farmers, traders, vendors, butchers, and our system is fully off-grid, powered by solar, and designed for rural and peri-urban community. Our business model is built by both impact and profitable. We operate a pay-as-you-store system from 1,000 to 10,000 based on your duration and volumes. We also generate daily revenue from through ice block production, selling over 200, 300 ice block daily. From our single unit, we generate between 1.7 to 2 million monthly revenue. In 2025, we generate over 13 million revenue, while in 2026, so far, we have generated over 6 million, with strong growth expected before end of this year, inshallah. We are already in operation. Agro-Tree serve over 1,000 customers, while validating our market beyond our current user. From 100 farmers surveyed, almost 92% showed interest in our services. Our traction has been recognized through Startup Abuja Innovation Program 2025, the new Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, and African Union Innovation Ecosystem Pitchathon, among others. We are starting from Nasarawa State, an agricultural driver region with thousands of smallholder farmers producing perishable goods daily, but with very limited access to cold storage. Our advantage is very clear: 24/7 solar power reliability, affordable pricing, and multiple revenue streams. Beyond business, our impact is measurable. We reduce food waste by up to 80%. We increase farmers' income and traders' income by up to 30 to 50%, create jobs across operation and logistics. And we also operate with zero carbon emission, which is using solar energy. Our solution aligns with United Nations Development Goals 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 12, and 13. Agro-Tree is built by multidisciplinary team combining engineering, operation, and business efforts. I, Ibrahim Issa, am the founder. Aisha Sani, she's the CTO, and Umar, operation lead. We are seeking 50 million in funding to deploy 2 additional Agro-Tree units in Nasarawa State to expand our operation. Additionally, if we secure the grant from this challenge, we will use it to install solar system to our second unit in Masaka, scale market, and hire operational staff. Our vision is to deploy 100 Agro-Tree units across key states in North Central Nigeria by 2030. Agro-Tree is more than just cold storage. It gives farmer control over when they sell, how they earn, and how they grow. Join us in transforming African agriculture, one solar unit in a time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Wonderful pitch, by the way. You said your monthly revenue is somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million naira.
1.7 to 2 million naira.
To 2 million naira, so an average of 2 million naira, and then annual revenue is about 24 million, right?
Yeah, because we start our operation last year, 2025, by February. We can't include the one in January.
So annually, let's say 24 million at 2 million per month.
Yes.
What does it cost to make one single unit? What's the cost of single unit?
20 million naira.
20 million is the cost of a single unit.
Yes.
What's the daily utilization rate for a single unit? How many customers do you have on a single unit?
In a single unit, we have, like, in a day, we have, like, especially in us block, almost 200 customers is to patronize, while installing their goods, 10 to 15 customers every day.
So, capital of 5 million, what would that do for you in terms of, deploying it into business?
Yeah, we deploy another system in Masaka, which we are not yet complete. We remain solar system. And if we secure this funding, we are going to use that money to put the solar, also hire staff, and the remaining we will do marketing with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause to all the startups that pitched today, and a round of applause to all of our judges. Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of the MSME pitch part for today. We look forward to coming back tomorrow with our results. Thank you and have a wonderful summit.
Thank you very much, Akumishi. Thank you very much, judges, and all the best to our finalists. Let's put our hands together for them, ladies and gentlemen, as I recognize the presence of Engineer Obadiah Simon Nkom, Director General, Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office, who is represented by his Senior Special Advisor, Dauda Dingam Habila. You're most welcome. I'd like to use this medium to recognize the presence of Engineer Mansour Ahmed, OFR, Senior Advisor at Dangote Group, representing Aliko Dangote. Sir, welcome to Nasarawa. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen.
In a world driven by innovation, ideas alone are not enough. They need structure, guidance, and a place to grow.
Looking at Nasarawa State University, KFE, with a well-developed geosciences and also mining departments in the university, UNDP decides to host this MineTech Unipod in Nasarawa State University so that the UNDP will leverage on the expertise in the university to provide sustainable solution in terms of mineral development. This will go a long way in positioning the university globally as a center of excellence. One of the goals of the program as a whole is to see that we provide hands-on skills to the artisanal farmers, hands-on training to our students, not only to our students, but the populace of Nasarawa State, to also pilot innovative solutions in green energy to provide additional value in what the miners are doing.
A vision to move beyond theory and empower students to build transformation through innovation.
UNIPOD actually stands for University Innovation Pod. It's being implemented by the United Nations Development Program in collaboration with the federal government of Nigeria and other funding partners like TED Fund, individual state governments, and so on. Now, there are different unipods, about 7 of them, across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. The Nasarawa State University is a MineTech innovation hub, hoping to provide solutions and products that actually lead to smart mining, green mining, where ESG forms the focus. The MineTech Unipod brings together stakeholders from the whole value chain of mining, from exploration, from exploitation, processing, and then value addition as well, so solutions can be co-created so that what comes out of universities will no longer be just research products in terms of thesis and so on. It now becomes research that is targeted at problem solving. The MineTech Unipod is here to ensure that mining is done in an environmentally friendly way and that there's economic diversity attached to it.
Unipod is an innovation hub where learning meets application and ideas are developed into real-world solutions. The Geochem suite, where samples are analyzed and critical data is generated to assess resource quality and environmental impacts. The Geotech Laboratory, transforming data into solutions through modeling, simulation, and efficient system design. In the Build Lab, ideas become physical through rapid prototyping and locally driven innovation. The ecosystem space, where collaboration drives innovation, connecting ideas to industry and real-world opportunities. Together, these units form a complete innovation cycle, from analysis to design to creation and ultimately to real-world application.
I've learned how to operate and use the CO2 laser cutting machine to fabricate digital designs on non-metallic materials such as wood, acrylic, and many more.
Prior to this time, I didn't know how to make designs in 3D. I don't know how to go about that. But right now, I can design in 3D and solve 3D related problems that has to do with 3D designs.
Beyond skills, it builds confidence and the ability to create.
Now becomes research that is targeted at problem solving. The MineTech Unipod is here to ensure that mining is done in an environmentally friendly way and that there's economic diversity attached to it.
Unipod is an innovation hub where learning meets application and ideas are developed into real-world solutions. The Geochem suite, where samples are analyzed and critical data is generated to assess resource quality and environmental impacts. The Geotech Laboratory, transforming data into solutions through modeling, simulation, and efficient system design. In the Build Lab, ideas become physical through rapid prototyping and locally driven innovation. The ecosystem space, where collaboration drives innovation, connecting ideas to industry and real-world opportunities. Together, these units form a complete innovation cycle, from analysis to design to creation and ultimately to real-world application.
I've learned how to operate and use the CO2 laser cutting machine to fabricate digital designs on non-metallic materials such as wood, acrylic, and many more.
Prior to this time, I didn't know how to make designs in 3D. I don't know how to go about that. But right now, I can design in 3D and solve 3D related problems that has to do with
Is to guide the students as to which of the sections they can fit in.
The MineTech Unipod has actually impacted me in so many ways. For instance, in the field of geology, equipment are very real, which give me more insights and more knowledge to know about this equipment. For instance, the flame photometer, the pyrolysis, and so many of them.
During my undergraduate studies, I was opportune to be among those that were trained in MineTech Unipod. So those that trained us left here immediately after the training. I later graduated from the school, but I have to come back to the Unipod so that the knowledge that has been given to me, I have to impart it to others.
From students to mentors, creating a cycle of growth and innovation. In a world that demands solutions, the ability to build matters. At Unipod, students don't just learn, they create. Unipod, building solutions from the ground up. In a world driven by innovation, ideas alone are not enough. They need structure, guidance, and a place to grow.
Looking at Nasarawa State University KP skills to the artisanal farmers, hands-on training to our students, not only to our students, but the populace of Nasarawa State, to also pilot innovative solutions in green energy to provide additional value in what the miners are doing
a vision to move beyond theory and empower students to build transformation through innovation.
UNIPOD actually stands for University Innovation Pod. It is being implemented by the United Nations Development Program in collaboration with the federal government of Nigeria and other funding partners like TED Fund, individual state governments, and so on. Now, there are different unipods, about 7 of them, across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. The Nasarawa State University is a Mindtech Innovation Hub, hoping to provide solutions and products that actually lead to smart mining, green mining, where ESG forms the focus. The Mindtech Unipod brings together stakeholders from the whole value chain of mining, from exploration, from exploitation, processing, and then value addition as well. So solutions can be co-created so that what comes out of universities will no longer be just research products in terms of theses and so on. It now becomes research that is targeted at problem solving. The Mindtech Unipod is here to ensure that mining is done in an environmentally friendly way and that there's economic diversity attached to it.
Unipod is an innovation hub where learning meets application and ideas are developed into real-world solutions. The Geochem suits, where samples are analyzed and critical data is generated to assess resource quality and environmental impacts. The Geotech Laboratory, transforming data into solutions through modeling, simulation, and efficient system design. In the Build Lab, ideas become physical through rapid prototyping and locally driven innovation. The ecosystem space, where collaboration drives innovation, connecting ideas to industry and real-world opportunities. Together, these units form a complete innovation cycle, from analysis to design to creation and ultimately to real-world application.
I've learned how to operate and use the CO2 laser cutting machine to fabricate digital designs on non-metallic materials such as wood, acrylic, and many more.
Prior to this time, I didn't know how to make designs in 3D. I don't know how to go about that. But right now, I can design in 3D and solve 3D related problems that has to do with 3D designs.
Beyond skills, it builds confidence and the ability to create.
The Unipod is a center that houses so many young people that are tilted towards innovation driving, that have zeal to innovate something. So as the facility manager, what I do is to guide the students as to which of the sections they can fit in.
The Mindtech Unipod has actually impacted me in so many ways. For instance, in the field of geology, equipment are very rare, which give me more insights and more knowledge to know about this equipment. For instance, the flame photometer, the pyrolysis, and so many of them.
During my undergraduate studies, I was opportune to be among those that were trained in Mindtech Unipod. So those that trained us left here immediately after the training. I later graduated from the school, but I have to come back to the Unipod so that the knowledge that has been given to me, I have to impact it to others.
From students to mentors, creating a cycle of growth and innovation. In a world that demands solutions, the ability to build matters. At Unipod, students don't just learn, they create. Unipod, building solutions from the ground up.
In collaboration with the federal government of Nigeria and other funding partners like TED Fund, individual state governments, and so on. Now, there are different unipods, about 7 of them, across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. The Nasarawa State University is a Mindtech Innovation Hub, hoping to provide solutions. And
in the field of geology, equipment are very rare, which
Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me that this theme, bold transition, we have here an array of respected Nigerians that have left everything they are doing of His Excellency Dr. Jose Queen Azao, the Angolan ambassador to Nigeria. Your Excellency, you're most welcome. Arain Ogon, His Royal Highness the Serkin Away, His Royal Highness Serkin Azara, His Royal Highness the Chumada, and of course, His Royal Highness also Usman is represented here by, ladies and gentlemen, the MD Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is here, Madam Shehu Usman Osidi. Good morning, sir, and welcome. I also want to recognize the presence of World Bank Country Director Nigeria, Mr. Matthew Vehis. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us. He's been in this house since yesterday. He went to see our farm, the Jangwa farm, took time to go all the way to Tunga to see the Dangote sugar farms. Thank you very much. Good morning, ma'am, and thank you for joining us. Just a reminder that the 24 as something that will, and of course, is already. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's rise. Okay, please let's settle down. They're yet to be here, but I'd like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister to also, can we please be seated? Thank you. Thank you. Members, House of Representatives, and the immediate past CEO of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. This is going to be, we have the upper, there are seats at the gallery, so if you're standing, you can please move up. Feel free to climb up the gallery. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to ask us to rise to receive in our the Vice President for the Republic of Nigeria. All smiles behind him is the chief host and initiator of this summit, the executive governor and initiator of this summit, the executive governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule. Mr. Vice President, sir, welcome to Nasarawa State, welcome home. Welcome home. While we get ready, I'll ask us to please remain standing as we take the, please remain standing as we take the national and Nasarawa anthems, ladies and gentlemen. The national and Nasarawa anthems. So DJ? The state anthem. The state anthem. After the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Nasarawa, the land of our. We come to strong for
Nasarawa State gives you an exotic kaleidoscope of nature and a very rich tapestry of serene landscapes. Nasarawa State, nestled at the very heart of Nigeria, right at the heart of this country and the north central sub-region of Nigeria. We're proud. We welcome the 15th Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our very own and most warmly welcome home to Nasarawa State. His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Asu, a governor who continues to exceed all expectations. We welcome the Vice President along with the very good people of Nigeria. His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Dr. Emmanuel Akabe. His Excellency, most distinguished Senator, the very first civilian governor of Nasarawa State, and Turakin Kefi, former national chairman of the APC, distinguished Senator Abdullahi Adamu, we welcome you. We also welcome all the senators in our midst that are here with us, and we're expecting quite evidently some we would mention. I'd like to all say that are here with us, Bojato, my Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State, Honorable Justice Aisha Bashir. For those that are here with us, priceless, peerless, distinct, very highly esteemed guests of ours. First, I'd like to recognize the Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, most distinguished Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, CON. I always would add that he is a World Bank scholar, and don't be deceived by the Babariga that he's wearing, and we're following in his footsteps. The Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, a lady that I always pick my jotter to pin down what she does. As far as I'm concerned, in Nasarawa State, not only is she a Harvard-trained lawyer, but she is the beacon of Duole MFR. We welcome you home to Nasarawa State. She's always guided what we do because we're an investment haven here in Nasarawa State. Your Excellencies, right before us, we have the very top, a galaxy of captains of industry. I honestly would not know who to call. So I'll simply say all the respected, highly valued partners in progress, our blue chip partners in progress who are here with us, would like to thank you for making the time to come. But I'd specifically like to also welcome on behalf of the captains of industry, foremost industrialist. He's one person who is also a son of Nasarawa State, and he's here ably represented by engineer. Recognize our chair of the very first Nasarawa State Investment and Development Advisory Council, Professor Koinshola Ajayi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so very much for chaperoning the progress for us. 2022, you had Diamond in the Rough. 2024, you had Industrial Renaissance. And today, you have the third Nasarawa State Investment Summit. It is called the Bold Transition. 6 years of working with us. We thank you, Professor Koinshola Ajayi. Your Excellencies, all governorship candidates in our party, the APC, who have sacrificed their personal ambition for the greater good of party unity, would like to specially recognize that you're here with us to support His Excellency's effort at having what I call constructive, inclusive democracy in Nasarawa State. We welcome you. But would also like to welcome and recognize their excellencies, all the other governorship candidates who are here and are still in the race. It's your democratic franchise as well. Would also like to recognize all of the patriotic citizens of Nasarawa State who are vying for all collective offices under the auspices of our very great party. I'd like to specially apologize, most especially to His Excellency, the Ambassador of Angola, who is here with us. Sir, you're most warmly welcome. I actually forgot my Portuguese hat back at home, so it's my Fulani hat I'm wearing, and I'm having the map of Nasarawa State on my shoulder, so I'm really sorry, Your Excellency. But eminent sons, daughters of Nasarawa State, democratically elected chairman of local government councils. And now we get to the very serious part, our reservoir of wisdom, our rich, resplendent, respected traditional fathers, the custodians of our finest traditions, our royal fathers who have been here with us, waiting to welcome the Vice President. We recognize members of the Nasarawa State Traditional Council of Chiefs, led by none other than the honorable, the respected, the erudite luminary, legal luminary, and retired justice of the Supreme Court, the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Baghi Mohammed I, the Emir of Lafia. We pay our respects to all our traditional rulers. First-time visitors to Nasarawa State and those that would actually be in the deal room, the prospective investors that would stay in Nasarawa State, invest in Nasarawa State, live in Nasarawa State, get married in Nasarawa State and refuse to go back home. We welcome you even more specially. Would like to also welcome our members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm. We welcome you, we welcome you, we welcome you. His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule says to you, you're most warmly welcome to the third Nasarawa State Investment Summit 2026, Bold Transition. At this point, I'd like to call the MD, CEO of NASIDA, Barrister Ibrahim Abdullahi, to give us the opening statement. And from this point, I would like to just urge that anyone who speaks simply observe this very long and very detailed protocols that have taken so much time to actually establish. So can we give ourselves a rousing round of applause and welcome to the third investment, the third installation of the Nasarawa State Investment Summit, the MD, CEO, NASIDA, Barrister Ibrahim Abdullahi, for the opening statement.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, Your Excellency, our indefatigable leader, Governor Abdullahi Sule, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished senators, our royal fathers, captains of industry, very special guests. Let me single out my dear wife, Amina. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2026, the third and most consequential edition of the Nasarawa Investment Summit. 3 editions, 3 chapters of a story that has grown bolder with each telling. In 2022, under the theme Diamond in the Rough, we introduced Nasarawa State to the investment world, our potential, our resources, our geographical advantage. We asked early movers to take the bet. Many of you in this room did that. We're grateful, and I am sure you're seeing the results. 2 years after, in 2024, under the Industrial Renaissance, potential became performance. Commitment became groundbreaking ceremonies. Words became works. Today, the question is no longer whether Nasarawa can attract investment. Over $2 billion United States dollars in investment inflow into the state already answers that. The question this summit answers is how we can ensure that what we have built endures. That is what we call the bold transition. We have assembled an extraordinary group of minds, key political actors and policy makers, global investors and multilateral partners, indigenous entrepreneurs, and sector specialists, because we believe that the conversations that will happen in this room over the next 2 days will shape the economic trajectory of Nasarawa State for the next decade. The Nasarawa Investment Summit 2026 introduces a deeper conversation on how reforms can be embedded within enduring systems of governance, how investor confidence can be protected during political transition, the foundations already established. This summit, ladies and gentlemen, is engineered for action. 4 plenaries on institutionalizing reform ahead of 2027 general elections, on what investors actually require before committing capital, on operationalizing the first of its kind Nasarawa Gas Master Plan, and on solving the energy access gap. Each session is designed to project the Goody Agro-Industrial Hub, the Technology Hub at the Technology Village, small hydropower at Farirua and Doma Dam, gold and lithium processing, the 100 billion naira infrastructure fund, the embedded power network, and the Aso Pada Yanya toll road project. All feasibilities are ready, PPP structures have been defined, and our project teams are ready to engage. Our governance reform sustainability pact, the Lafayette Declaration, and an MSME challenge to underscore His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule's commitment to building an enduring legacy pioneered by small businesses. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence of 7 years of reforms is auditable. Over 50 business environment improvements under our Business Enabling Reforms Action Plan, including harmonized taxes, digitized regulatory processes, the Gas Master Plan, a robust PPP law, the new State Electricity Commission, and of course, NASIDA, the Nasarawa Investment and Development Agency, built into a world-class investment promotion agency to the envy of the world and other states. This is evident in the inflow of both foreign and domestic investments, which has created over 50,000 jobs, has grown our IGR from 7 billion naira in 2019 to 37 billion naira in 2025. And now ranked as one of the 10 most competitive states to do business in Nigeria. Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you with the famous words of Frantz Fanon, that each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. It has been the greatest honor of our lives to take part in fulfilling this mission of making Nasarawa State competitive, investor-friendly, and economically prosperous. Your capital is safe where governance is credible. And governance is credible in Nasarawa State under our able leader, Engineer Abdullahi Sule. Welcome to our bold transition. Welcome to the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2026. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, your investment is very safe where there is credible government. And His Excellency is one who epitomizes and rises to the hallmark of personal example and, of course, good governance. Your Excellency, I do not want to hide this lady beside me. I'd just like to introduce her, my co-MC all the way from South Africa. Can we give her a rousing round of applause? Well, you know, Nigeria's foreign policy, even from when we grew up, Africa has always been the centerpiece. We're the big brother. So when we say the co-MC from South Africa, let's give her the Nigerian welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Her name is Tando Daza. Her name is Tando Daza. It's very, what does it mean? Very introduce. Say something.
Absolutely. Good morning, and all protocols observed. My name is Tando Daza, and it's an honor to be standing here in front of everyone that is here today. I know that it is a sensitive time. It's something that we cannot avoid and run away from. But what I do want to reassure you is that today I'm wearing a Nigerian attire with some South African earrings.
Well, what does your name mean, actually?
My name means love, and I wanted to respond to that later. For the reason of being that the one thing that we always need to remember as Africans is that we are always one, no matter what. There's a quote by Thabo Mbeki, my former president of South Africa, and it goes, whatever the setbacks at the moment, nothing can stop us now. Whatever the difficulties, Africa shall be at peace. And I think right now, that is an important quote to mention and to state, as I'm a South African and I stand before you today.
We thank her very, very much. Essentially, business knows no cleavage, knows no boundaries. And for us in Nigeria, we do not just only represent the entire black race, because out of every black person you see on earth, 4 are actually Nigerians. Our hearts are very large, and we welcome all of our African brethren, of course, everyone, including everyone from South Africa. At this point, we will take the media, a video clip, and I'd like to also recognize the Executive Secretary and CEO of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Ms. Aisha Rimi. I'd like to recognize that you're here with us. Sorry I didn't the first time. We'll now briskly run through the program and make sure the time is well taken note of. So can you give us the video? And thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
I've been instructed to stick like his biblical counterpart. His NIPC commends Nasarawa State for its intent positive reforms, such as the setting up of a one-stop investment center, granting rights of way, further validates this progress, and it has been an absolute pleasure to work with Barrister Brian. For Nasarawa State, its proximity to the Federal Capital Territory has significant advantages.
Come here and just wave and go back, actually. You're most warmly welcome.
That's a very tough one, but let me say good morning to everybody. I will stand on the existing protocol as established by the MC. So let me start by saying that it's indeed an honor and responsibility on my own part to stand before you as the CEO of Tetraco Energy Group. At Tetraco, we are focused on expanding the energy footprint within Nigeria and also, of course, within the West African sub-region. And so we are excited that this event is one of privilege because obviously the forum that would define and establish a platform and engage and tangible economic reforms. This is very important, which is from policy power, because it means that we are going into commitment not just by speaking, but by acting. And so the team challenges all of us to move beyond conversations and into executions, into commissioning. At Tetraco, we've committed over $100 million in the last 3 years, focused on establishing the infrastructures across the value chain within the gas, natural gas, virtual pipeline segment, and of course, power generation. And so we are happy to say that we're collaborating together with the Nasarawa investment arm to establish strong power generation footprint within the state and support the economic activities with the necessary energy and power that is needed to drive them into fruition. We anticipate to spend $100 million within the next 2 years in ramping up power generation system within the state, focused on industrial estates and industrial layouts. And of course, we also expect to roll out our CNG and virtual pipeline system for mobility and vehicular purposes. Why Nasarawa? Because we believe that Nasarawa is not just a state of potential, it's one of momentum. We see that there's a gas master plan that is being developed. We think that it's going to be very important in driving not just the thoughts, but moving into vision and concrete policies and infrastructure pathways. So we are looking forward to working very closely with all our stakeholders there in Nasarawa over the next 2 days as we transition from, like we said, commitment to action. And we look forward to partnering with all our stakeholders because we believe very much that collaboration is very key to achieving sustainable results. Thank you very much, and I wish everybody a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, the chairman of Tetra Group. Now to the next sponsor and key partner, David Zong, the MD of Diamond New Energy. You do please have 2 minutes. Please do come onto the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, English is more. 开始吧。
Yes, our pleasure.
尊敬的尼日利亚共和国副总统卡西姆·谢蒂玛，尊敬的纳斯拉瓦州长阿布杜西拉西·苏雷阁下，尊敬的纳斯拉瓦副州长M.I. 阿卡比。 尊敬的各位部长阁下、安哥拉驻总统、大使阁下、党科特先生、各位尊敬的专员、议会会员及地方政府主席、各位传统领袖、各位珍重的投资者、利益相关以及合作伙伴、女士们、先生们，大家好。
Distinguished Vice President Kashim Shettima of Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi A. Sule of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Deputy Governor Dr. Emmanuel Akabe, Honorable Ministers, the Ambassador of Angola to Nigeria, Alehaki Adiko Dangote, Honorable Commissioners, members of the House of Assembly and local government chairman, Royal Fathers, distinguished investors, stakeholders, and partners, ladies and gentlemen, good day.
我谨代表钻石新能源有限公司出席此次重要的拉萨拉瓦投资峰会，深感荣幸。
It's my great honor to represent Diamond New Energy Company Limited at this important Nasarawa Investment Summit.
首先，我要向联邦政府战略指导及致以同高的敬意，同时致以衷心感谢拉萨拉瓦州政府高瞻远瞩的发展严谨、卓越的战略领导力以及良好的营商环境投资。本次峰会充分地体现了前瞻性的经济发展思维，也高度地肯定了私人投资的社会经济可持续发展的重要作用。
First of all, I would like to pay high tribute to the strategic guidance of the federal government. I also sincerely appreciate the Nasarawa state government for his far-sighted development vision, outstanding strategic leadership, and business-friendly investment environment. This summit fully demonstrates forward-looking economic thinking and recognizes the vital role of private investment in sustainable social and economic growth.
我十分荣幸，公司大型的一体化项目被列为拉萨拉瓦重点标杆项目。这一认可不仅是发展项目的投资规模，也代表了各界政府对我们长期发展的充分信心。
We are honored that our large-scale integrated lithium project has been listed as a key benchmark project in Nasarawa State. This recognition reflects both the scale of our investment and full trust in our long-term commitment to local development.
围绕锂资源的可持续探索、绿色开采高附加值深加工，我们致力于打造涵盖采矿、显矿及综合冶炼的技术整体产业链，同时公司还同步开发了多元素矿产，努力推进尼日利亚自西非新能源产业升级的核动力。
focusing on sustainable exploration, eco-friendly mining, and high-value deep processing of the lithium resources. Diamond New Energy is committed to building a complete local industrial chain covering mining, concentration, and comprehensive refining. We also develop diversified minerals simultaneously, striving to become a core driving force for new energy industrial upgrading across Nigeria and West Africa.
这两家股东的江西九鼎锂业和苏州天华新能源支持下，公司具备雄厚的经济实力、全球领先的技术水平、完整的产业构建。2024年7月，公司完成了重大重组，实现了对尼日利亚赣锋锂业的全面收购。2024年9月，我们与拉萨拉瓦政府签订了战略合作协议，并启动了大型锂化智能型生产基地。
Supported by two major shareholders, Jiangxi Jiuling Lithium Industry and Suzhou Tianhua New Energy, our company enjoys solid capital strengths, advanced global technology, and complete industrial chain advantages. In July 2024, we complete major strategic restructuring and achieve 100% full holding of Nigerian Ganfeng Lithium Co. Limited. In September 2024, we officially signed strategic cooperation with Nasarawa State Government and launched the construction of our large-scale modern intelligent lithium processing base.
项目整体建设期不到1年，于2025年6月全面建成，于2027年7月正式投产。目前该项目已成为尼日利亚及西非最大、技术最先进的锂加工设施。项目分期建设一期处理能力200万吨。 约日合6000吨，随着2期投产建成，已经完成。
The whole construction cycle took less than 1 year. The project was fully completed in June 2025 and officially put into production in July 2024. Today, it ranks among the largest and almost technological advantage lithium corporations in West Africa. Constructed in phases. Phase 1 reaches annual ore processing capacity of 2 million tons, equivalent to 6,000 tons per day. And Phase 2 flotation workshop, our total annual comprehensive processing capacity has reached 3 million tons.
此外，公司坚持包容共享发展理念，大量投入社区建设，包括道路修缮、清洁水源、电力施工、教育、医疗等改善条件，立足拉萨拉瓦，辐射全国。公司以一体化锂产业核心扭曲，积极探索尼日利亚矿产资源，致力于尼日利亚成为非洲最大的组织。当前，
Moreover, we keep inclusive shares development as our core principle. We have invested heavily in local community improvement, including road renovation, clean drinking water projects, power and communication infrastructures upgrading, educational support, and medical improvement. We ensure all local people share the fruits of mineral development.
纳萨拉瓦丰富资源，区域优越，治理高效，合作务实，蕴含着巨大的可实现机遇。我们仅用1年时间实现了高速产能，充分的运用这些东西。未来，钻石新能源坚持绿色资源，保护环境，合规经营，进一步深化企业合作，长期战略合作，与尼日利亚各界政府携手，共同推进国家新能源转型与产业繁荣。
In the future, Diamond New Energy will adhere to green production, environmental responsibility, and standardized local operation. We will further deepen governmental enterprise cooperation, keep long-term local development strategy, and join hands with all levels of Nigerian authorities to promote national energy transformations and overall industrial prosperity.
最后，我谨向阿卜杜拉希 A 苏雷州长阁下致以崇高的敬意，感谢您卓越的领导力、持续的投资支持，已经为拉萨拉瓦可持续发展奠定了坚实的基础。祝愿阁下在任期内再创佳绩，钻石新能源也将持续深化友好合作，共同发展。
Once again, I would like to express my deepest respect to His Excellency Governor Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule. Thank you for your extraordinary leadership, consistent investor support, and outstanding contributions to solid, sustainable foundations for Nasarawa bright future. We wish Your Excellency very success in the rest of your tenure. Time and New Energy will maintain friendly cooperation and create joint progress together.
最后，预祝本次纳斯拉瓦峰会圆满成功，成果丰硕。谢谢大家，愿上帝保佑您的力量。
Finally, wish the Nasarawa Investment Summit great success and fruitful achievements. Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much. The tough job is standing in front of people's cameras and what do they say, photobombing. Thank you, Mr. David Zong. I would like to now call on Mr. Shehu Usman, the MD of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Please, may we keep it to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my professional mentor, Senator Kashim Shettima, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, soon to be called Distinguished Senator A.A. Sule, may I crave your indulgence, ladies and gentlemen, to please remain on already established protocol. It is my privilege to once again participate in the Nasarawa Investment Summit, an initiative that has firmly established itself as a credible platform for driving investment, fostering partnerships, and advancing the economic transformation of Nasarawa State, Nigeria, and beyond the nation. First and foremost, I wish to commend His Excellency Engineer A.A. Sule for his visionary leadership and for sustaining the momentum of this summit as a catalyst for growth. What we see in Nasarawa State today is a clear demonstration of a purposeful governance where policy direction is being translated into tangible economic opportunities far beyond our boundaries. We can't thank the governor enough for this transformation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is proud to be associated with this event and the government of His Excellency Governor A.A. Sule. For us at the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, we hold firmly to the belief that access to decent and affordable housing is not a luxury, but a necessity. It is central to dignity, productivity, and national development. This is why our core mandate, driven through the National Housing Fund Scheme, has consistently focused on expanding access to affordable housing finance for Nigerians. Over the years, we have supported thousands of Nigerians to achieve home ownership through the NHM Mortgage Loan Scheme. We have also provided critical interventions such as the home renovation loan, the individual construction loan, and the cooperative housing development loan, all designed to ease the housing burden on Nigerians and expand access across income levels. We are also rolling out innovative products, including the non-interest mortgage, diaspora mortgage loans, and the rent assistance to ensure inclusivity and broader reach. Nasarawa State remains a strategic partner in this journey, and our engagement has continued to deepen both scale and impact. To date, the bank has financed over 11 housing projects across the state, delivering more than 1,590 housing units. These developments have significantly contributed to expanding access to affordable housing and improving living standards. Building on this foundation, we are currently implementing new housing initiatives in partnership with the Nasarawa State government under the leadership of distinguished Senator A.A. Sule. Notably, under the FMBN Affordable Workers Housing Scheme, over 430 new housing units are to be developed across strategically selected locations in the 3 senatorial zones. Towards this end, construction of 100 units at the Lafia site has commenced in earnest. These projects reflect our deliberate effort to ensure inclusiveness and broad-based access to homeownership opportunities. In addition to these project financing, we have also continued to support individuals directly through our mortgage and other loan products. The bank has so far disbursed about 9.4 billion naira in home renovation loans to Nasarawa State indigents, empowering thousands of families to improve their homes and living conditions. These interventions have clearly demonstrated our commitment not only to financing houses, but to supporting home ownership and advancing the government's broader housing and economic development agenda. Furthermore, we are actively aligning with national initiatives such as the Renewed Hope Housing Program of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, where we are providing both construction financing and mortgage support for off-takers. This reinforces our role as a key enabler for large-scale housing delivery across the country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the housing sector today requires more than funding. It requires an integrated ecosystem that combines finance, land, infrastructure, and innovation. Nasarawa State is uniquely positioned to lead in this space, given its strategic location, expanded infrastructure, and investor-friendly environment. However, we recognize that real impact comes after execution. FMBN's mandate, national reach, and the NHF gives us a unique competitive advantage, and our growing footprint in Nasarawa State is evidence of what can be achieved through strong collaboration between government and institutions. We see Nasarawa State not just as a partner in the housing market, but as a strategic hub for integrated housing and investment-led development. This summit, therefore, provides an opportunity to deepen partnerships and unlock new investments. In conclusion, I am happy to reaffirm the commitment of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to supporting the growth and development aspirations of Nasarawa State. We will continue to collaborate with the state government and other stakeholders to deliver sustainable housing solutions that improve lives and drive economic prosperity. On this note, I commend the government and people of Nasarawa State for the successful hosting of the 2026 Nasarawa Investment Summit, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Would like to, can we give them a rousing round of applause? I'd like to appeal that, we can actually get the speeches later on, and anyone coming to give us a speech, kindly just speak to the points of it all, because His Excellency, our guest, the Vice President, is very busy and he has to leave in a couple of minutes. We're going to the next critical session, the critical aspect of the summit, which is the plenary, the first plenary. The title of the plenary for this is Institutionalizing Reform and Making Economic Progress Irreversible. I'd like to invite for the speakers. It's initially scheduled for 45 minutes, but we will take it for 20 minutes only. I'd like to call on the session chair, Dr. Joe Abba, to please kindly take his place. Dr. Joe Abba to take his place as Regional Director for Africa DAI. As a renowned expert in governance and institutional reform, Dr. Joe Abba, former Director General of Nigeria Bureau of Public Service Reforms in the Presidency. I'd also like to invite our very own, the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, CON, to also take his place. He is indeed aptly tuned for this session, a seasoned economist. I'd also like to recognize the country director of the World Bank, who is a distinguished economist, Matthew Verghese, who is also part of the panel. And then we have, completing the panel, Dr. Joseph Ogebe, the Head of Research and Development, Nigeria Economic Summit Group. And then we would like to recognize His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Dr. Emmanuel Akabi, who will be completing this particular plenary session. Their topic is, like I said, institutionalizing reform and making economic progress irreversible. And the chair is Dr. Joe Abba. Sirs, you have 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency, the Governor, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We were originally told we had 45 minutes, and then while we were in the room, we were told it gone down to 40, and then a few minutes later, it went down to 30, and as we got to the stage, it had gone down to 20. So we're just going to go straight to it. Oh, Your Excellency, the former governor, sir. Good morning. So we will go straight into it, and I'll start the discussion with His Excellency, the Deputy Governor. Sir, what reforms would you consider to be the most notable that Nasarawa State has undertaken in the last 7 years? What do you think are most likely to survive? And which ones do you think are the highest risk of reversal?
Well, thank you very much. I really don't know where to start from. When we came in 2019, our governor had come in prepared and had engaged some consultants to develop an economic blueprint for us in Nasarawa State. And that formed the basis of the economic reforms we started applying in Nasarawa State. That gave birth to the Nasarawa State Economic Development Strategy document, NEDS. And when we came in, we realized that to be able to implement NEDS, we needed to put certain things in place. And the first thing he did was to constitute the Nasarawa State Economic Advisory Council. And that Economic Development Council that he constituted, he picked the best we can get from Nigeria, not minding where they're coming from. These are the best to help us develop our state. And that advisory council was headed by Dr. Koya Ajayi, who is here. And from the advisory council, other things came up. The setting up of NICEDA as it is today was one of the products of that advisory committee. Now we needed to do appraisal of the whole state based on the economic development strategy. And realized that at the time we came in, even the IGR of the state was just about 500 million naira in a month. And I can tell you now we are closing on about 3 billion naira in a month. We had to set up a revenue board, a revenue commission with autonomy, like other parts of the world in developed communities apply. And we also looked at it. If we are going to develop our economy, we needed to have the people to do it. And therefore, there's a need to look at the issues of human capital. And we started by having a senior special assistant on human capital. And for that, we now developed that to now a full agency with a managing director running it. The same with NICEDA. We started with an SSA in economic investment, and now we have a NICEDA. So this is a trajectory of it moving from where we started to where we are today. There's so many reforms that His Excellency are putting, but the good thing about it is that we have a leader who came with a vision and bringing in private sector management into the public sector. And managing the two of them is something that has been done so fantastically. Now, for you to succeed, you must get the buy-in of the people. And to get the buy-in of the people must understand what you're doing. And therefore, whatever policies we come up with, we make sure to take it down to the grassroots, let the people from there think about it, advise, and we implement. So rather than having a push method that we used to do where you, at the top, you decide on what to do, they push it down to the people. Now we have a pull system where all the ideas come from below, come up and put the things together, and we have what we have today. So in terms of economic reforms, we've looked at so many areas. One, investments, getting investments into the country and into the state, but you cannot have investment without peace and security. And that is one area that His Excellency has taken very seriously. And today, Nasarawa is just one of the most peaceful states around this part of the country. Because without peace and security, nobody will want to come and invest where there is no peace. Nobody will bring his money where there is no security. The only person that can bring money or invest where there is no security is the person that manufactures the gun. Because there is peace and security, he cannot sell his gun. But because of the ideas he brought, cutting across health, education, agriculture, and most importantly, to answer your question, issues of mining. Because this is one advantage we have in Nasarawa State, a state of solid minerals. We needed to come with an executive order to ensure that the mining industry, the mining atmosphere is under control. And I can tell you without any doubts that at least one of the biggest lithium factories in West Africa has been built in Nasarawa State. We have two already. The first one was commissioned by the Mr. President when the Senate President represented him. And the second one is about to be commissioned. And because we needed to have stability in that industry, and the executive order became very necessary. Now, one area that, again, I want to talk about would be, even in the area of mining, there has to be synergy between the states and the federal government. Because you know that the mining industry is under an act of the Constitution that exclusive lists, that the state governments might not have too much input in. But there's a need to look at that so that states can have better control by the mining within their areas. If we're able to do that, I think that will help the economy to a large extent. Can I go on?
I would love you to, but I suspect they may have cut our time to 10 minutes again by now. So perhaps I should go to... okay. No. Yeah, let me go to the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning. Sir, just looking at your career, it's been one of transitions from being in the banking sector to working in the central bank, to being a two-term governor, to now being the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning. And throughout your career, you've driven different reforms. I'm sure that at some points you've been, you've wondered which reforms will survive and which ones will not survive a change in government. What distinguishes a reform that will survive from one that will not, in your experience?
Thank you, Joe. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency, my brother, the Governor, former Governor Abdullah Adamu, distinguished senators, esteemed guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is the recognition that reforms are not static, they evolve. You might have the best set of reforms today. You must have the institutional means to calibrate tomorrow, because the world is evolving and changing daily. So that is the paradigm on which the Renewed Hope agenda, for example, was framed, that we are not where we want to be. Do we want sequence reforms? Maybe we did not have time, and in the wisdom of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his able assistant, the Vice President, they felt we should disrupt, we should go at it. And it has been a big debate in economics. A very popular book in the 80s was Ronald McKinnon's Sequencing of Economic Reforms. At what do you do first? And they decided, consistent with our constitution, that let's disrupt and manage the disruption. And I think it is the benefits of that disruption that is enabling states like Nasarawa to achieve what they have achieved, as we have heard from the Vice President, Deputy Governor, and more, and of course, probably laid the ground for this kind of engagement. And the fact that His Excellency, the Vice President, is here not for the first time at an investment summit is not a coincidence. It's a deliberate recognition that as as chairman of our federating unit, which is the National Economic Council, in line with our constitution, which is both constitutional, we are both a constitutional market economy and a constitutional federation, and in line with the boldness, ambition of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Vice President, that they will be unapologetic in supporting states and subnationals that are willing to take up the challenge. And he does this almost everywhere across the country. And while I am at that, knowing that I don't have time, maybe I can quickly say this. The sustainability of our reforms is embedded in our constitutional form. Our constitution requires the president, the governors to swear to an oath of office whose form is dictated into the constitution itself. And one of the elements of that oath is the obligation to strive to uphold the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, which include economic objectives, a balanced economy within a federal arrangement. So we are the National Economic Council provides the platform for that, provides a platform for interrogation of all policies and maintenance of all policies, and ensuring that all the 36 states and FCT are supported to embrace reforms, calibrate those reforms, and supported by the center so that those reforms can achieve success. And it's in line with our development plans as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I have one follow-on question, because just observing what you've said about how the federal government has been engaging with the states, it seems to me that what I've considered for a while to be an over-centralization at federal level is beginning to ease. I'm beginning to see the creation of the regional development commissions. I'm beginning to see some a determination to ensure that local governments get their monies direct. I'm beginning to see a commitment to state police. So a lot of what the federal government does has an almost direct effect on states. And so I'm wondering, how do you see, particularly in the investment arena, how working with the National Economic Council, working directly with states, how does federal policy promote investment at subnational level?
I think I've started saying it. It started with the vision of the leaders that as a country, by 2023, we are not where we want to be. Of the 10 countries with the largest population, we have the smallest GDP, we have the smallest revenue compared to Brazil, which is the closest to us in terms of population. Our GDP is about 1/8, compared to Brazil again. Our federal budget is about $50 billion, $40 billion compared to Brazil's 1.22. So we started, or our leaders, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, Vice President, they decided that we have to disrupt this, and disruption means this is not sustainable. How can we put reforms in place that will draw attention to the absorptive capacity of every constituent part of Nigeria so that those capital holders can be mobilized? And that's what we have been doing. That's why it's easy for Nasarawa State to attract investment, because an investor will not say to Nasarawa State, what about distorted exchange rate? What about fuel subsidies that are taking away the revenues, and you can't even de-risk the investment? or how do I remit, and also why are you not in electricity? Now all those are being solved both sequentially and in a very disruptive manner. But more important as well is to ensure that every state have a place of pride in the federal arrangement. So the vice president is available for any state governor that wants to be supported. The president is available. Federal policies, federal resources are all available to support reformers, irrespective of where they are in Nigeria, in order to explore their vast potentials.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I'll quickly go to Dr. Joseph Ogebe. Dr. Ogebe, you work with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, and you interface with governments, both federal and state, on policy development, policy execution, and economic growth. Given your experience of working with the private sector, what specific steps would you advise Nasarawa to take between now and May 2027 to protect the gains of its current reforms?
So thank you very much. Because of time, I would like to rest on existing established protocols. So I think Nasarawa State has done well in the past 4 to 5 years. We track states all over the country, and we've seen significant improvement in terms of investment inflows in Nasarawa State. Like alluded to earlier, we've seen over $2 billion in Nasarawa State. But it's very critical for the states to continue to institutionalize its, its reforms. And I give an example from the federal step, right? Over time, we've worked with the federal government through the Nigerian Economic Summit Group for 32 years. We've been able to achieve strong reforms that has lasted over time. I give an example. We've done the banking sector reform in partnership with the federal government in 2024, the pension reform, the telecom reform that we see today is also a partnership between Nigerian Economic Summit Group and the federal government. So I think for Nasarawa State, it is important for the state to continue to work in partnership with institutions, private institutions like the NESG and other private institutions to deepen reforms in the state, to institutionalize reforms. Another critical point is to produce or publish information like data so that for investors, both domestic and foreign, will be able to plan and effectively mobilize our investment into the state. As we are close to May 2027, it is important for us to slow down on new reforms, but let's try to deepen the existing reforms. Then after the political cycle, we can try to expand into other broader sectors. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And finally, I'll go to Matthew, who's the country director of the World Bank. Matthew, you've seen these situations all over the world, and before we came in, you were telling me a very interesting story about how a landlocked country like Ethiopia was able to attract investment. How should a state like Nasarawa signal to investors that its reforms will continue beyond the change of government?
Thank you, Joe, and all existing protocols observed. Before I came to Nigeria, I was covering South Asia right when Sri Lanka was just going through an economic crisis. They actually defaulted on their international debt, then put in a series of reforms, somewhat along the lines that were put in here in 2023, and then an election was coming. And because all the existing parties were associated with the old days, it soon became clear that the winner of the election was going to be a Marxist party that had spent decades complaining about the kind of policies that were put in place as part of the reforms. So everybody was nervous about what would happen. They won an overwhelming majority. When they came into power, despite everything that they had said before, they continued to implement the policies that they had been criticizing very much earlier. And the lesson that I took from that is one that I've seen time and time again. Your reforms have to be economically sustainable, but they also have to be politically sustainable. And those two things are not always consistent. You know, the things that you do to get political support may not be the things that will help you get economic support. So the skill in reforms is managing those two things so that your economic reforms are economically sustainable and they're politically sustainable. And if you can do that, whatever the previous government said, whatever the new government said when they were in opposition, they will come in and continue the reforms. That's been my experience. And I think for Nasarawa, the messages that come from the private sector about how it works in Nasarawa is one of the most powerful messages that new investors will get.
Thank you very much. I think we're almost out of time. But I just have time to tell you one very short story. His Royal Majesty, the Emir of Kano, was invited to Lagos to come and give a speech. And just as he was about to get into his speech, he was told that his time was up. And he said, if you bring me all the way from Kano, you must let me say what I came to say. And he carried on. But in deference to His Excellency, the Vice President, I will not do that on this occasion. I will just thank my panelists. It's unfortunate we didn't have an opportunity to to offer the audience an opportunity to ask questions, but I'm sure that everybody on the panel will be more than happy to engage with His Excellency the Governor and offer thoughts and suggestions about how the reforms in Nasarawa State could be sustained. Thank you very much for your time.
One photograph for the entire panel. We'd like to thank the first panel, and you listened. Priceless pearls and words of wisdom, actually, that speaks to the very heart of this Nasarawa Investment Summit, which is bold transitions, building a legacy for a sustainable future. And you've heard it all. It can't be sustainable except it's sustainable politically as well as economically. Thank you so very much. Photographers, would like to thank you for your kind words. Thank you. We'll quickly go on to panel number 2. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Investors do not just follow opportunity, and they do follow confidence. Confidence is in governance, confidence is in policy, confidence is in people. The second panel is going to unpack what investors are looking for and how Nasarawa continues to position itself as a credible and competitive destination. The title of this plenary is titled Investor Expectations and Risk Management, the critical drivers shaping the next wave of investments. And the plenary chair, or the session chair, is Professor Gonin Shole, SAN Senior Partner of Olowain IAJ LP. And the panelists that he will be unpacking this conversation with is Jumoke Uduwele, Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Alaji Monse Ahmed, OFR Senior Advisor Dangote Group, Rashid Sarumi, GMD Saro Africa, Hadiza Amborsa, Executive Director, Commercial Banking Access Bank, Mr. Brijesh Nandal, GM of Olam Rice Farm. Thank you.
The chair of the second plenary, my co-host, has actually handed over. You have 20 minutes, and thank you so very much. You may proceed, Chair.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency the Governor, all other protocols observed, given that we have only 20 minutes. And what we hope we would achieve in the 20 minutes is to demonstrate to those that have invested in the states that there is much more to do, and to demonstrate to government that is and that is coming the things to do to attract investors. And I'm going to start with you, Honorable Minister, given your trajectory from academia to private sector to working on reforms, and now as minister responsible for investments, trade, and industry. Because you understand these things, you understand what it is to make doing business easy. Can you speak to us what we can pick from what Nasarawa State has done so that other states in the country would learn, the government itself would learn, and those that have not invested would come? Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, please permit us to stand on all existing protocol in the interest of particularly your time. We appreciate you. Let me begin by congratulating His Excellency, the Governor, for really his consistency with his team, especially Ibrahim, in convening this summit at such a high level for the last 7 years. Especially since PEBEC, Nasarawa has been one of my star states and a lot of reforms implemented since the beginning of your tenure. I'm glad to see that it's translating into investment activity during your time. And that progress isn't happening in isolation. It's tied to the broader national efforts led by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. And over the last 3 years, we all know that Nigeria has undertaken a set of economic reforms to stabilize the economy. And so capital flows have increased. Now, coming to Nasarawa State, your GDP is now about $12 billion, 800 million in solid minerals investments, $400 million in rare earth processing facilities, and a pipeline approaching $1 billion. What matters now is the momentum is sustained with consistency and translated into increased investment, production, and export jobs. At the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade, and Investment, we're to support and deliver close partnership with state governments, implementing policies to mobilize investment at scale, strengthen domestic competitiveness, expand local supply, and connect that supply to global demand. And so with practical tools, I actually brought one of them for you. We launched 4 playbooks, 4 investment playbooks, including with agriculture, with solid minerals, with creative sector, and technology. With that, just to say that Nasarawa State is like a template of what sustained reform can achieve. It doesn't happen overnight, but step by step, time by time, investors can see that the business climate is really what matters most. There has to be certainty, predictability, consistency, and that is what we're actually coming to discuss here with the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The Executive Secretary, NIPC, you see at times lawyers can be very, very brief. I know you did very well. Thank you. Engineer Mansour, you know, in the 80s, you were in NNPC. From NNPC, you set up ICRC Infrastructure Commission. Then you headed Nigerian, Economic Summit Group, very important, public-private partnership. Then, you were there when Dangote became the powerhouse. You were one of the brains behind that.
And then, you went to man, and I think you're taking life a bit easier now. That's why your cap is gray, your beard is white, and so on. So, drawing from your experience, dealing with many states as nationals and sub-states, can you tell us what you think are the gaps that Engineer Sule still needs to fill, given that you worked together for many years in Dangote, and you know him well, so you know his shortcomings, and you know his strengths. And although he's an engineer, he pretends to be, but he really is an architect, as the Deputy Governor said. He envisioned a new plan for the state, so now I don't call him Engineer Sule again, I now call him Architect Sule. And he's also a builder, and he's also been someone that has sustained things. So the question is, how can they scale and maintain? Engineer Mansour. Engineer Mansour, you have lost 2 minutes of your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's duty equipment. Yes, I believe that, 4 years ago precisely, in May 2025, Engineer Sule established the first economic summit for Nasarawa State. And we had the privilege to be represented at that summit. And we observed 3 things: that to initiate and sustain reforms requires essentially 3 basic attributes. First, you require leadership that is committed, that is visionary, that is competent. And we said then very clearly that the leadership that Nasarawa had then, clearly we know, has all these 3 attributes. And we're absolutely certain that if the other 2 requirements are available, there will be no reason why Nasarawa should not make significant stride within the short period of time. The 2 others are a policy and regulatory environment that is enabled by institutions that are competent, that have capacity to identify and prioritize development projects that the state needs to make progress. And lastly, a clear plan of action that should clearly put forward projects and programs that will facilitate that transformation. And we said we have no doubt from what we have seen in 2022 that Nasarawa State had all 3 requirements, because we know Engineer Abdullahi Sule very well, so we know we have the leadership we need. We also have seen what he has done to bring you, Konyi, to come and help set up the regulatory and policy environment and establish institutions like NACIDA that should drive this process of transformation. And lastly, at that time in 2022, we were assured that a plan is in progress to put in place a very clear pipeline of projects and programs for the state that will lead to the transformation of the state. And I believe what we are seeing today means that in all areas, these requirements have been satisfied. So clearly, what we need now to go forward is essentially 2. 1, to scale up the programs and projects that we have already seen taking place. 2, to open up the space for bigger and more, for greater flows of resources, especially financial resources, skills and competences that will be able to scale up programs and projects over time. And I think we see clearly that this is what is happening, and this is what this summit at this stage is trying to do. It's said to be transitional. Transition means you will need to ensure that your vision is sustainable, because it is also a vision that is bought by succeeding administrations. You need to ensure that the plans and programs are credible, and that the institutions that have been put in place to work with the private sector and to invite them to invest, both directly, but also in public-private partnership programs will be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe because I told you too much about him, but there's so much more to learn from him. But let's move. So we've seen a lot of policy. I'd like to move a bit now to action. And I'd like to talk to the man who just is in charge of food. And you'll expect him to be a fat man, Mr. Sarumi. You're a big farmer. And look, he's so slim. So you wonder how come you're a big farmer. So, Mr. Sarumi, can you tell us, in terms of action, you're an investor here. You've dealt with the state. And, you know, we're happy the Vice President is here, as is our Honorable Minister. Can you tell us how we can deal with federal-state relations in making sure that investments go on in the states?
Thank you.
And you tell us why you're slim, in spite of the fact that you're always making food.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. I'm standing on all existing protocol, but of course, I have to acknowledge His Excellency the Vice President and, of course, our governor. And several of my friends here, including Senator, my friend from Riyadh, that was where we met. Okay, I think for me, I'll go back a bit. We have seen subnationals led by people from private sector, okay? They are committed to doing things in a particular way. And my experience with Nasarawa and a few other states has indicated that the investor friendliness, I mean, the persuasion of Ibrahim to get us here this morning is one of them, right? In our quest to invest here, in able to get the right land, even when that was being delayed, it was the governor uses his office to broker another deal where a previous investor that had not performed was made to transfer the assets to us, of course, at arm's length. It shows the personal commitment of wanting to see change. But having said that, some of our investments, including Dangote here, is a little bit slow because we are still waiting for a federal policy that will ensure that the multi-million dollar investments, far above $250 million, that we need to make in a particular sector, which His Excellency is very familiar with, is in place, that will not put us, local producers, at a disadvantage to current players who import, right? And I also know that the Honorable Minister, I'm playing both roles in private sector and in government, right? Is that she has been trying in ensuring that this consistency of policy, but private sector, we have to work to continue to persuade, to complain, and ensure that this policy alignment would lead to us, private sector, being able to take the final investment decision as quickly as possible. What can happen, for example, in the sugar industry in Nasarawa is over $1 billion of investment that is waiting for this federal government policy.
Okay,
Thank you
very much. So, Honorable Minister for Planning, please make sure you plan them in the next round. So, just taking this further, Mr. Sarumi has spoken about $1 billion. So please, I'm told the governorship round and those that are next governors are in the room. So please note, 1.25 billion from him.
It's not from me alone, it's from the industry.
No, okay. We're taking it from you. So I'd like to ask my sister, Mrs. Ambrosa, what is it that this governor and the next governor must do that will make you give him the financing, whether equity or debt, that he needs to bring to the state?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the question, and also to the state for the opportunity to sit on this panel. I have to start by saying a very well done to the MD of NACIDA in terms of what they've done so far. They've done a lot of the things that we typically would advise states in terms of how to make your projects bankable. They've tried to de-risk. They don't just say we're open for business, which is what a lot of states do, and then it's just general and out there. They've picked out the projects. They've tried to de-risk them and make them bankable, and that really is commendable. So very well done to the team. But I think in that, the major things investors look for is that so the transition will really be a big deal. People want to see that when you transit from one governor to the other, the good things continue to work. And we saw that from the last administration going into the current administration. That gives a lot of confidence in the state. Again, that you have the right projects, they're bankable, you've de-risked them. Infrastructure is very key, and that's something that Engineer Sule has worked on commendably. I keep talking about the trip from Abuja to Nasarawa. Now it's a breeze. Before it was a nightmare. You didn't want to come at all. So all these things have been done. In terms of regulatory reforms as well, people want to know that when they bring their monies in, they will be able to invest in the project. Those are things he's worked on. Institutions, basically, that support those investments. So these are things that have been done. And the state will just continue to do so to further boost confidence. I think those are really the major things.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry I have to cut you short. So, because we have only a few minutes left, Mr. Nandal, you're also a big investor here. Can you tell us about your experience so others can do the same? Very briefly.
Yeah, good afternoon. I stand to the existing protocol. So I will just restrict myself to what inspired Olam to plant its root in Rukbi. So there are 4 things which are to this. First is the land. Second is its potential. Third is the positive investment environment in the Nasarawa state. And fourth is the warmth of its people. So when we start with a humble beginning, but we scaled up where we scaled our operations for farming to by, you can say, about 10 times. We enhanced our processing capacity by 5 times. And we diversified into bran oil production and renewable source of energy through rice husk and solar. And this was not possible if we didn't have the visionary leadership under His Excellency Engineer Abdullah A. Sule, the blessings of our royal fathers, and the warmth of the Nasarawa people. The risk which we faced, I will only speak about one risk which is mostly been spoken here and there, that is the security. So our philosophy is only one, that is, if our communities are safe and secure, so our company is and we are also secure. So how we achieved this? We achieved this in terms of giving good education opportunities to the youth and women. We trained the youth and women to be part of our operations. Most of them, we say that are, you can say 45% of our employees are from our indigenous communities. We cannot incorporate all of them. So we started with our Outgrowers program, where we motivate the indigenous farmer communities to be part of our Assured Off-Taker program. So as on today, we have about 10,000 plus farmers from whom we take assured intakes. So this is what is we have achieved here. And then when we started, okay, there were a lot of apprehensions that what is going to be there, how it is to be there. So everything was put to a rest as soon as we put our foot on Nasarawa state.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Because we've got to go. Just before we do, Honorable Minister, what must Engineer Sule and his successor do differently for scale?
Thank you very much. I think the next level is really productivity for exports, leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade Area, value addition. So with agriculture, the entire value chain, we are working from the federal government end on market access to across Africa, to across the world. Mr. President has gone around opening relationships and signing agreements so that goods from Nigeria can really travel. And so that's really the next thing, scale. The critical mineral sector, Nasarawa has all 7 of the strategic critical minerals for Nigeria, along with several other ones. It's an area to focus on. Globally, it's the most important thing for AI, US, China, everyone is interested. So those are really what
Thank
I
you
would
very much,
say.
Honorable
Yeah.
Minister. We had promised we would not delay the Honorable Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you, panel.
I just would like to get the microphone. Thank you so much.
Photographers.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much. May all the photographers please take the pictures. Thank you for that wonderful plenary that just took place. Infrastructure, education, youth, scaling up, exporting, AI was the key element part of this conversation, hoping that everybody has taken notes and as you sit, you know exactly what to invest in. Thank you to the panelists and to our session chair. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. As we thank the second plenary, we're getting set for the centerpiece of this summit and the speech by His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Isule. But before I invite His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, I would like to invite to come and sit on the stage for this momentous moment, this history-defining moment. I'd like to respectfully call on the following to please come to the stage and take their seats. I'd like to call on His Royal Highness, the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Bagi Mohammed I, the Emir of Lafia, to please come and take his place. He would observe, he would sit with us on the stage before His Excellency is ushered. I'd like to call on the chair of the Disability Rights Commission to also join His Royal Highness on the stage. The chair of the Disability Rights Commission here in Nasarawa State, before His Excellency makes his speech. I'd like to also call on the chairman of the Youth Council to please come up and join them on the stage, and would like to call on the chair of the National Council for Women Societies, National Council for Women Societies in Nasarawa State. And then I'd like to call the chairman of IPAC, Inter-Party Advisory Council. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, which is the umbrella association that has all of the political parties existing in the country. They're under the auspices of the IPAC, Inter-Party Advisory Council. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, the Vice President. These distinguished and eminent personalities represent different sectors of our society. We have our Royal Father, His Highness, the Emir of Lafia, representing the echelon of the wise and the sages of our society, the custodians of our tradition and valued customs. We have the chairman of the Nasarawa State Disability Rights Commission for inclusivity, to carry the voice of those who are persons living with disability. We also have the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, bringing all of the political parties in Nasarawa, in the country actually, to be represented here. And then, of course, we have the chair of the National Council for Women's Societies. Your Excellencies, before I usher His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Aisuli, since this is a historic moment, and this is a moment that is signposted by the word transition. Transition is the key of the word here. And every transition is a very delicate period, and it's delicate especially to investors, because investors would like to see that their businesses thrive and survive. His Excellency, the Vice President, was at one time Executive Governor of Borno State. And at this same point of transition, it will interest you to know that there were 21 aspirants that were cleared to take over from His Excellency then, when he was Governor of Borno State. Amongst the 21, the closest two people that were close to him, the closest boys were Adamulawan, Zofanjiba, and Kakashehu Lawan. They were very close to the Vice President. Amongst the 21 people, the one that was most experienced in public service, the elder statesman, Ambassador Baba Ahmed Jidda. And then the APC chairman, if he's here, Dr. Aliu Bello, please kindly join. I'm telling you a story, we should listen, because we have to take a lesson from the Vice President. 21 aspirants wanted to take over from him. Where political loyalty was concerned, the one who was closest to him and showed him real political loyalty was most distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari. And then, you know, the unique part was that he had two of his direct relatives amongst the 21 aspirants he was supposed to choose. And then the closest friends of Governor Kashim Shettima, then Vice President now, were Senator Baba Kaka, Bashir Garbay, and Alhaji Mesharif. They were his closest friends from childhood. And then if you are talking of somebody amongst the 21 that was the most humble, the person that was legendary was Shettima Yuguda Bilbai. And then they said to the governor then, Kashim Shettima, choose amongst these 21 people who will be your successor. Your Highness, we're ready for the next chapter. Since he's here, I'm sure he will tell you more later on himself, the Vice President. It's my singular honor and privilege to call on His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Aisuli, whose passion and ambition is driven only and strictly by the greater good. A man who uses inclusive politics, a man who places the fear of God in his heart and what he believes will serve and sustain Nasarawa State to soar from height to height and grow from glory to glory. And of course, take our state to its rightful place of destiny. His Excellency, Engineer Abdullahi Aisuli, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, who indeed will explain to us what it means today when he talks about bold transitions and creating a solid foundation for sustainable development. Your Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency, our leader, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, the most loyal, the most patient, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, may Allah continue to bless you. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Dr. Emmanuel Akabe, Your Excellency, the first Executive Governor of our dear state, Senator Abdullahi Adamu Turakin Kefi, our dear Honorable Minister, Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, and my dear sister, Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwale, MFR. Your Excellency, my dear friend, Angolan Ambassador to Nigeria, Jose Bamakina Zau, the country director of the World Bank, Matu Wajis, distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Speaker, Nasarawa State House of Assembly, Honorable Dalla Dijatau, and all the other members, our dear members of the State House of Assembly, the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State, ably represented by Justice Aboki, Honorable our Father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Lafia, Sidi Bagi Muhammad CFR, and all our other royal fathers who are seated there, the President of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote GCON, who is ably represented by my other boss, Engineer Mansour Ahmed, our dear sponsors, so many of you here, Diamond Energy, who are the owners of the largest lithium processing plant today in Africa, Access Bank, Saro Africa, Tetra Co, and Federal Mortgage Bank, the pioneer chairman of the Advisory Council, Professor Kwenyishola JSAN, members of the State Executive Council, Security Council, distinguished members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed with a sense of fulfillment and responsibility that I address you here today on this occasion of the third edition of the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2026, which is taking place right here in the beautiful capital of the state, Lafia. Let me warmly welcome His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima GCON, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to this 2026 summit. Similarly, I welcome all our honorable ministers, captains of industries, and other very important VIPs to this event. In the same vein, I acknowledge the presence of our most cherished investors and development partners who are here to be part of this auspicious occasion. I have no doubt that the assemblage of these distinguished and eminent personalities will offer us the opportunity to continue to map the future of our state economic landscape with a view to exploring opportunities and forge investment partnerships across Nasarawa State. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is important for me to state that the Nasarawa Investment Summit, which began in 2022, has actually evolved into a central platform through which the state communicates its economic vision, mobilizes partnerships, and demonstrates its commitment to private sector-led development. Since the conception of this summit in 2022, each edition has reflected a distinct phase in the state's economic transformation. At the start in 2022, the Economic Summit, which had the theme Diamond in the Rough, has positioned Nasarawa State as a state endowed with strategic advantages in terms of natural resources, proximity to the federal capital, and untapped investment opportunities. The state has succeeded in introducing Nasarawa to investors and its corresponding potentials. The 2024 Industrial Renaissance was the second summit which shifted the narrative from potential to structured development. It highlighted deliberate efforts to industrialize the state through sectorial development in agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and infrastructure. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to inform you that the 2026 summit, which is termed Bold Transitions, Building a Legacy for a Sustainable Future, focuses on protecting and institutionalizing the reforms that have embedded the progress, while setting the agenda for the state's next phase of economic development. Indeed, this is the last summit under our administration, which is no doubt a defining moment in the economic and governance trajectory of our state. I need to state that 2026 summit is not merely a continuation of the state's investment promotion efforts, but a strategic platform to consolidate on the existing gains and chart a pathway for the next phase of economic transformation. These commitments inform the choice of this year's summit, that is, bold transitions, building a legacy for a sustainable future. This theme reflects the recognition that Nasarawa State is approaching a critical governance transition, hence the need to provide an opportunity to articulate how the reforms and the institutional systems developed over the past 7 years and how they can be sustained, deepened, and institutionalized beyond political cycles. Additionally, the summit seeks to reinforce investor confidence by emphasizing the continuity of policy, stability of institutions, and predictability of governance. It signals clearly that the progress achieved in strengthening the state's economic governance architecture is not just tied to personalities, but anchored in durable institutions and policy frameworks that will continue to guide development irrespective of policy transitions. Ultimately, it's designed to deliver both immediate and long-term outcomes. In the short term, the summit mobilizes new investments, deepen partnerships with development partners and private sector, and showcases the state's economic potentials. Over the long term, it seeks to establish a durable framework for sustaining reforms, strengthening institutions, and guiding the state's next phase of development. The summit, therefore, represents a critical moment for aligning political leadership, institutional actors, investors, and citizens around a shared vision of the prosperous and resilient Nasarawa State. This is why the summit invited critical stakeholders in Nasarawa State, including our gubernatorial aspirants, regardless of the political party that they belong, in order for us to stimulate the sustainability in our endeavors. It is imperative to state that the legacy of the summit will be reflected not only in the investments it catalyzes, but also the clarity it provides for the future and direction of the state's economic development. By reinforcing the importance of the institutional continuity and setting the agenda for the next phase of economic transformation, it will convert the reforms of the past decade into foundations of a sustainable and inclusive economic future for Nasarawa State. It is therefore heartwarming to point out that Nasarawa State approaches a political transition in 2027. The sustainability of the reforms implemented over the past 7 years becomes critical policy consideration. No doubt, political transitions can create uncertainty for investors, particularly when reforms are perceived as tied to specific administrations rather than embedded in durable institutional frameworks. Maintaining investor confidence, therefore, requires clear signals that existing policy regulatory systems and contractual commitments will remain stable and predictable. Furthermore, institutions' continuity plays a critical role in reducing investment risk and ensuring that ongoing projects and development incentives proceed without any kind of disruption. In this context, the focus must shift from implementation of reform to institutional performance. The governance, regulatory, and investment frameworks established in recent years must firmly be embedded within laws, institutions, and administrative systems capable of enduring beyond individual political tenures. This is why the summit brings together policymakers, investors, development partners, political leaders, and citizens to interrogate the process achieved so far and define the priorities for the next phase of growth. It is for this reason, and guided by our desire for sustainable economic development, we are here today launching the Lafia Declaration, which is a voluntary commitment by key stakeholders, including political parties, the legislature, judiciary, development partners, and investors with a view to sustaining the state's economic reform trajectory beyond a political cycle. At this juncture, let me appeal once more to our stakeholders seated here today to key into this vision so that together we will sustain the milestones recorded in the past 7 years. This will no doubt guarantee institutional credibility and reform continuity and enhance investors' confidence in Nasarawa State beyond the transition and beyond the period of Engineer A.A. Sule. On this note, I wish to a witch-free summit while I invite all the major stakeholders to join as we go into signing this Lafayette Declaration for the socio-economic development of our state. Which brings me lastly to the reason why you have all the stakeholders who are seated here. The idea, and this is why our stakeholders, also the investors, ask for this, and that is the reason why we are doing it for them. The investors want a situation where even without AA Sule, they can be confident that their investment is safe, that there will be continuity. And so we invited the aspirants who are here, because today, nobody knows who will be the next governor of Nasarawa State. I believe in the teachings of the Quran that says, God alone makes leaders and he alone makes them at the time he wants to make them. We know who we want. God knows who he wants. Therefore, we invited everybody to be part of it. We invited the traditional institutions. We invited actually the political parties, IPAC. We also invited the youth. We invited the chairman of our party because we are hoping that we are going to be the winners of the election anyway. We also invited the women groups and we invited the disability group so that we can now make a commitment. There is a declaration that has been given earlier to everyone. We can make a commitment that irrespective of who takes over from AA Sule, these shareholders can go to rest. Their investment is safe. This is the whole essence of the next assignment that we are going to carry. With that in mind, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you sincerely for taking all the time that you want to take to be here. I thank all those who have donated their resources in order to fund this summit. As at this morning, we were still receiving resources from others. As at yesterday, the World Bank was here with us to spend the time, the entire day with us. From the head of the World Bank in Nigeria, that is the country director, to go through Nasarawa State to see the potentials and to partner with Nasarawa State. And to rate Nasarawa State as one of the best partners for the World Bank, as he said yesterday, and we thank you so much for that statement. And with this, it comes to an end. I thank you sincerely, and may God continue to bless you. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a man of history who understands the complexities of Nigeria. You're witnessing today yet an innovation in Nasarawa State. Einstein said, knowledge is good, education is good. It shows you how the world is, but imagination is better because it shows you how you can reshape the world. Engineer Abdullahi Esule is reshaping what has actually been happening, the playbook of politics, even here in Nasarawa State, which is a miniature Nigeria, a microcosm of Nigeria. You have every tribe, every hue of every kind of person in Nasarawa State, especially even condensed in Karu. Your Excellency, now is the period to sign the Lafayette Declaration, which is voluntary. There's a compact between government and the private sector that says, we the women would stand with the investors. We the disabled community would stand with investors. Your investments will be protected. We, the traditional rulers, will bless your investments and make sure, despite the political hula baloo and so on and so forth, it's institutionalized, there would be peace, there would be progress, and of course, there would be continuity even amongst the political stakeholders. So we have IPAC, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, which is an umbrella of all the political parties. Their chairman is right here to sign on behalf of all of the political parties. It is committing political actors that the playbook of politics is totally changing in this country. It is no longer prone to just, toggery or sentiments or emotion, but reason and placing the greater good of society. So the core commitments of the Lafayette Declaration are 7 items. We want policy continuity from whoever takes over from His Excellency. We want protection of investments on behalf of those who have brought wealth and prosperity to Nasarawa State. We also want institutional safeguards, respect the PPP laws, respect the terms of ease of doing business, respect the investors and give them what they require. Most of all, best global practice. We want transparency, transparent fiscal management. Tell the people that the people know. The photo would be taken. And of course, we want that government should, let the private sector lead. And we want stakeholder engagement because the voice of the people is the voice of God. So carry everybody along from baseline surveys, from giving back to communities, from corporate responsibility. And then that there should be dispute resolution instead of people standing on different flanks and going to full-fledged war on account of politics. These are the noble tenets and the 7 items and the core. This is a consequential declaration, the Lafayette Declaration today here. Can we give them a rousing round of applause? The nobility of character of His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, who has always said that indeed what he fears the most is standing before the Almighty God and accounting for his period of stewardship. This is a practical and visible example of somebody who has approached power from that perspective and would leave it with that same perspective. It's not the end of the road. This is not May 29, 2027. We have 1 year and more to go. So please, we'll still be holding our positions, But thank you so very much. Now we are at the very heart of the matter, where you have His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, speaking to you. Not only is he giving a guest speech, he is giving the keynote. Here you hear sheer eloquence from a man who is a teacher, a man who is a lecturer, a man who is a banker, a man who is an agroeconomist, one that for me, intellectual gravitas, brilliant distinction, and one who is at home with facts as he is with people. Let's welcome the keynote speaker, most distinguished guest of the 3rd Nasarawa Investment Summit, His Excellency, Vice President, most distinguished Senator, Kashim Shettima, GCON.
Kindly take your seats, please. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, my elder brother, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Dr. Emmanuel Agbado Akabe. Your Excellency, the elder statesman and former Governor of Nasarawa State, former National Chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu Turakin Kepi. My. Our distinguished senator representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District, and by the grace of God, our incoming, the activist Senator Ahmed Aliu Wadada. Our other members representing different constituencies in Nasarawa State, Awe Doma Kiana Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Abubakar Hassan Nalaraba, Nasarawa Toto Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Abdul Mumin Ari Mohammed, and of course, my very good friend, the Honorable Member representing Bagudu Suru Federal Constituency of Kebbi, Right Honorable Bello Kauje. My colleagues in the Federal Executive Council, the Honorable Minister of Budget and Planning, and the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments. Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, Dr. Tope Pashwa, and other senior presidential aides. Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. Matthew Burgess, the World Bank Country Representative, the Executive Secretary of NIPC, and Alhaji Dr. Mansour Ahmed, a doyen of the industry in this country, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Dr. Dalladi Jato, and other members of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly. And I would like to use the Secretary to the Government of Nasarawa State, Barrister Labaran Shuaibu Magaji SAN, to appreciate and recognize members of the Nasarawa State Executive Council. My father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Lafia, Joseph C.D. Muhammad Bage, retired. I would like to weaponize him to appreciate, recognize all members of the Nasarawa State Council of Traditional Rulers, heads of security and paramilitary agencies present, development partners, industrialists, my very good friend. Why is he? Malam Rashid Sarumi. He has left. Distinguished members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellencies, the tragedy of power is not that it ends. The tragedy of power is that too many leaders govern as though the future begins and ends with them. Progressive change without succession is a bridge that stops in the middle of the river. It dazzles the eye and betrays the traveler. But the true test of leadership, therefore, is not the applause it commands today, but the systems it leaves behind for tomorrow. That is why the theme of this summit, bold transitions, building a legacy for a sustainable future, speaks to the mind of every leader who understands the demands of a changing world. It is in this spirit that I welcome you all to the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2026. And I want to eulogize the governor. Beyond his humility, beyond his accessibility, is that he understands the dynamics of power. Abraham Lincoln said, most men can survive the extremes of adversity. But to test a man's true character, he said, give him power. Abdullahi Esule is a good man. I'm absolutely certain that the people of Nasarawa will miss him. But by the grace of God, the replacement that you will get is also another technocrat in government. What Nasarawa State pursues here aligns with the national direction set by our courageous and reform-minded leader, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Across the Federation, we are laying the foundation for an economy that rewards production, protects enterprise, and gives our states room to become engines of growth. I must therefore once again commend His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi Esule and his team for showing that reform is a daily act of fidelity to principle. Over the past 7 years, Nasarawa has pursued development with the calm conviction of a state that knows where it is going. A gathering such as this is a meeting point of ideas and capital. It is why investors, policymakers, entrepreneurs, financiers, industrialists, technocrats, and development partners compare notes and discover areas of mutual interest. It is why the imagination of government meets the courage of private enterprise. I have no doubt that Nasarawa is an answer to every investment dilemma. It has land, it has minerals, it has proximity, it has agriculture, it has energy prospects, and most importantly, it has a government that understands the consequences of inaction. When this administration came into office in 2023, Nigeria was at the edge of a fiscal trap. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man of honor. Instead of blaming the previous administration, the easiest way you can earn his wrath is to pour venom on late President Muhammadu Buhari. Instead of kicking the ball down the road, as others had done, he seized the initiative. As I said, Nigeria was at the edge of a fiscal trap. Debt service had consumed about 96% of revenue. The old order had rewarded arbitrage more than production. Fuel subsidies and exchange rate distortion had become feeding bottles for privileged intermediaries, while the public treasury was starved of the revenue required to build roads, fund schools, support states, and protect the vulnerable. His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, took the hard road because nations are not saved by postponing difficult choices. The signs of recovery, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, are visible in the stronger pulse of production. In an economy that grew from 2.74% in 2023 to 3.38% in 2024, and then rose further to 3.87% in 2025. Yes, the figure is not high, but at least we are progressing. They are visible in a fiscal deficit, narrowed from 5.4% of GDP to 3.0%, and in a balance of payments position that moved from years of deficits to a $6.83 billion surplus in 2025. Above all, they are visible in net foreign exchange reserves, rebuilt from $3.99 billion at the end of 2023 to $34.8 billion by the end of 2025. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when we assumed the mantle of leadership, our foreign reserves was a paltry $3.99 billion. It wasn't enough to import fuel even for a month. So some of the decisions that the president took were almost inevitable. But he never ran to town with stories about national bankruptcy because he knows the consequences of a run on the economy. He took the bold decision. The removal of fuel subsidy was not part of his speech. He kept it close to his heart. Either he took it there or he might never take it again. And now, our gross external reserves rose above $46 billion in 2025. They are the first architecture of recovery, the quiet pillars beneath the confidence returning to our national economy. For our states across the length and breadth of this nation, this recovery is even more consequential. Reform at the center has opened fiscal space across the Federation and increased the revenues flowing to states. The result is that subnational governments now have greater room to think, to build, to invest, and to respond to the needs of their people with renewed confidence. Across the Federation, states are no longer condemned to wait at the margins of national ambition. They now have the means to build roads, fund infrastructure, support enterprise, expand opportunities, and invest in the human capital that turns communities into engines of growth. Latvia, 10 years ago, was a small rural outpost struggling to wear the looks of modernity. Today, go around Latvia and see flyovers, beautiful roads, wonderful edifices. These are products of good governance. This is the meaning of a working federation. When the center is stronger, the states can breathe. When states receive more revenues, communities feel the presence of government. Confidence, too, is returning to the marketplace. Capital inflows rose from $12.32 billion in 2024 to $23.22 billion in 2025, while the equity market returned 51.19% in 2025, with market capitalization reaching 99.38 trillion naira. Those that invested in the stock market a year ago are worth some 3 times of their investment. I know the stock prices. Dr. Tope, what was the price of Zenith Bank and GT Bank 1 year ago? 40, 50 naira. Now the stock prices are 130 naira. That goes to show that the economy is working, that the economy is moving. Investors are beginning to read Nigeria again as a country willing to correct itself, a country prepared to take difficult decisions in defense of its future. Capital follows credibility, stability, and direction. All over the world, nations that move fastest are powered by strong federating units, and Nigeria is embracing that truth. Our subnationals are becoming centers of enterprise, policy, innovation, and industrial energy. This is why we are building a new compact between Abuja and every state, one that rewards fiscal discipline, competitiveness, and the courage to reform. Nasarawa has earned its place at the forefront of that movement. From the establishment of the Nasarawa State Investment Development Agency and the One-Stop Investment Center to the creation of the State Electricity Regulatory Commission and the Nasarawa Infrastructure Fund, the state has built a durable architecture for prosperity. This ambition reflects a philosophy of government that believes in institutions, a government that believes that institutions must hold the key to progress. The theme of this summit will not be more timely. Bold transitions reminds us that development must be transferred from one generation of leadership to the next without rupture. Policy continuity is the soul of investment, and the Latvia Declaration that has been signed is therefore an economic covenant, a public assurance that Nasarawa's progress will outlive elections and endure beyond personalities. I want to assure the investing public that by the grace of God, seated in our midst here is the next governor of Nasarawa State. He will abide by the compact. I'm absolutely certain. He cut his teeth in the banking industry. He grew up in the economic ecosystem. He was a staff, a senior manager at the defunct Habib Bank and at Liberty Bank. So he knows his onions, and he will continue from where Engineer A.A. Sule is going to stop. And at the national level, we are rebuilding the pillars of every state, and every state depends on energy reliability, fiscal balance, tax reform, and a single digital gateway for investment. The ongoing power sector reforms are opening new paths for state participation. Federal projects connected to the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline and the Abuja Industrial Corridor will complement Nasarawa's gas master plan and position the region as a critical energy hub. No state that surrounds Abuja has taken maximal advantage of proximity to Abuja greater than Nasarawa State. We want to thank you. We want to appreciate you. We want to celebrate you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your royal fathers, let's rise up and give a standing ovation to this poor man. You can sit down. This gentleman deserves more than that. The flyovers, the industrial parks in Gudi, the productive farms in Doma, and the rising technology corridor in Karu. An assurance that Nasarawa State means business. The greatest gift any leader can leave is the certainty that progress will survive after him. That is what we are witnessing here in Nasarawa State. This is why we must continue. This is why we must continue to salute the foresight of His Excellency Engineer A.A. Sule. May this bold transition strengthen the future of our federation, deepen investor trust, and prove that continuity anchored in competence and character is Nigeria's next competitive advantage. Senator Wadada, you have your job cut out for you. We wish you well. Thank you. Thank you to the people of Nasarawa. Thank you to the people of Nigeria. Thank you to investors that have invested their confidence in the Nigerian nation. God bless Nasarawa State and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
His Excellency, the Vice President will stand and take a picture. We would invite His Excellency, the Executive Governor, to please come up. Most distinguished Senator Wadada, our Royal Father, His Royal Highness, Emir of Lafia, please join. The honorable ministers that are here with us, kindly join. World Bank, please, NIPC, join. His Excellency, the Ambassador, Angola, kindly join so that we can take this photograph. Thank you very much. We will just take one photograph and then His Excellency, the Vice President, would move on to the exhibition. We would ask and plead that we kindly remain where we are. We would remain seated so that we can excuse. The representative of the Dangote Group, sir, please. You're most kindly. In fact, all of the entire front row, please come, please come. Please join us. We thank you so very much. This is a historic moment, and it is indeed the third Nasarawa State Investment Summit, Bold Transitions, Building a Legacy for a Sustainable Future. This is how we do it in Nasarawa State. Everything we do here is straight from a political laboratory. Everything we do is a masterclass, and what you have seen, based and anchored on the mantra and prayer of His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule to continually exceed all expectations. We churn out master classes and masterpieces, even where politics is concerned, for the greater good of our country. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you, investors. We would escort the Vice President and go for the exhibition. We ask that every other person kindly remain seated wherever you are. The Vice President will just inspect the exhibition. Okay. Distinguished guests and participants, since all of us will now be able to go into the deal room, we will stream the activities of His Excellency, the Vice President. You can watch it here. Please, you can also scan the barcode there so that you can give us feedback. But at the same time, watch what is happening where the Vice President is going into. if you just remain seated where you are. You can watch, we'll stream from here.
Thank you to everybody that joined us for day one. Today, day one is completed. However, you can go to the D rooms outside and just see what other entrepreneurs are doing and see how you can participate. Don't forget to network. Don't forget to make sure that you tag and you post on social media. Do tag in Nasarawa Investment on social media. The hashtag for this year is hashtag NIS 2026. Make sure that you continue the conversations of everything that you've learned today, and you are able to come through as well tomorrow for day two for more. Thank you so much to everybody.
Recording stopped. Stop.